Here's another example of so-called white supremacy over the nation of Israel. This is just more proof that the so-called white man, who's known as Esau, Edom in the Bible, is truly ruling over us as a nation. This is MailBag Extra, coming to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bar Shem Yahweh Shai. All praises and glory is due. Now, this lesson really came to me when I was watching a video by the brother Kazak from Mississippi. And it was a video he was doing on his lunch break. I think he went live. And he mentioned this statue here, which is known as the equestrian statue of Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was a former president of the United States. As you see here, the facts on screen. Equestrian statue of Theodore Roosevelt is a bronze sculpture by James Earl Fraser. It is located at the American Museum of Natural History, which we've been to. You know, Apostle Elder Town down, we've been there. We've done videos concerning that museum. It is located at the American Museum of Natural History, New York City. The equestrian statue depicts Theodore Roosevelt on horseback. Now, for those of you that may not know, those of you that are new to this, you know, the brothers that have been in the faith, they know. Usually in the Bible, a horse is used as a metaphor for power. That's where you get the term horsepower from. Now, when you look at this statue, as there's different variations of it, different angles, different shots of it right here under images, you know, you Google Teddy Roosevelt statue, New York Museum, under images, you will see the different images of the statue. And like I said, the word horse is a metaphor for power in the scriptures. There's certain scriptures where the word horse is used for a metaphor representing power. And you can clearly see that the so-called white man, Teddy Roosevelt, is sitting on the horse. Let's click on this one so you can get a better view. Now, we can't see in this picture, we can't see Teddy Roosevelt sitting on the horse, but indeed he is sitting on the horse. In other words, he's sitting in the power seat. And on both sides of the horse, or both sides of him, is so-called Negro right here, and the so-called North American Indian. Now, this very statue is in the scriptures, okay? And here it is in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, the 7th verse. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And when I first came into the school, into the knowledge, you know, beside Apostle Elder Tahar, one man in particular that always brought out the scripture and concerned it or tied it in with this image here was High Priest Ariah. And he used to be passionate in breaking it down. The scripture here, Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, he used to be passionate in breaking it down as this being a pictorial, if you will, example of the scripture. Okay? And when you go to the museum, you'll see the statue there with you know, the so-called Negro on one side and the so-called North American Indian on the other side. And it's really a demonstration and a declaration of so-called white supremacy. It's really a declaration by the elites of the so-called white man that they now have us as slaves. Also, there's a lot of observations you can make concerning the statue. Number one, the so-called North American Indian here represents this land called America, which the so-called white man indeed stole. All right, he stole this land from the so-called North American Indian, and then he brought the so-called Negro over to work this land in something called slave labor. That's why he's sitting on the horse. Let's get another angle. Okay, in this angle, you'll see the so-called North American Indian, and I believe he has a gun or rifle, rather, and the rifle is pointed down, meaning I'm not going to fight for you. I remember High Priest Ariel used to break that down. The so-called North American Indian had a gun, and I keep saying gun, but a rifle, and his rifle was pointed down, meaning I'm not going to fight for you. But then when you go on the other side, there's a better angle here, as you see the so-called Negro has a gun, and the gun is faced up, meaning, or a rifle, and it's faced up, meaning I'm going to fight for you. Okay, I remember High Priest Ariel used to break it down like that. All right. But what can't be denied is that we are slaves to the so-called white man. And when I say we, the so-called North American Indians are our brothers. They're from the tribe of Gad of the nation of Israel. And of course you have here the so-called Negro. Now, when you go in the book of Ezekiel, but you know what? Before I go to Ezekiel, it's something I want to bring out here. I just remembered. In the book of Ecclesiastes 10:7, it says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Now, why is the word servant used here? Because in reality, the so-called white man is supposed to be our servant, i.e. our slave. But yet he's upon the horse. He's in the power seat. Like I said, the word horse is used as a metaphor for power in the Bible. Now, when you go in the book of Genesis, let's prove that. Let's prove that the so-called white man is supposed to be our servant, yet he's upon the horse. He's upon the power seat. You go in the book of Genesis, which the word Genesis means beginnings. So we're going to go to the beginning of the so-called white man, and we're going to go and see what it says concerning him being a servant. The book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, and the 23rd verse. And the Lord said unto her, now this her is Rebekah, which was the wife of Isaac. Okay? The Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So what we're reading about is the beginnings of the nation of Israel and the nation of Edom. Okay? Again, let's read it again. 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated, not integrated, but separated from thy bowels, Rebekah. Meaning when you give birth, you're going to have 2, it's not just going to be 2 children. It's going to be, they're going to grow up to have 2 separate nations. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. Now here's the point. And the elder shall serve the younger. The elder shall serve the younger, right? Now keep in mind who the elder is going to be as we read on. The 24th verse. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now that is the so-called white man. They're not really white. That's why I say so-called white. They're really red. And the color comes through their skin from the blood that's in the body. And it shows forth through the skin because the skin is devoid of melanin, is devoid of pigment. And I'm talking about the so-called white man. Hence where he gets his name, Esau, Edom. Okay? Now you notice the scripture said he came out first. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And then as you read on, it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. But the point we want to take a look at is where it says the first came out red. So he's the elder. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the elder because he came out first. Then his brother Jacob came out, which we represent Jacob. So the prophecy says the elder shall serve the younger. So in the future, they're going to be our slaves. They're going to be our servants. And that is why when you go in the book of Ecclesiastes 10:7, it says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And what's a good demonstration of that? This statue right here. There's the servant on the horse, which he's really supposed to be our slave. Teddy Roosevelt represents an Edomite, represents Esau, which is supposed to be our servant, because you remember what the prophecy says, the elder shall serve the younger. He came out first out of the womb, then Jacob. So so definitely he's the elder. Esau, Edom. And in Ecclesiastes it says, I have seen servants upon horses, and I believe that was Solomon who made that observation. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And what does the statue depict? Princes walking as servants upon the earth. Prince number 1, the so-called Negro. Prince number 2, the so-called North American Indian. There you go. Which really represent the nation of Israel. And like I said, this statue is a demonstration and a declaration of the power of Esau, that they're now in the power seat and that they're now ruling over us. But they're going to lose their power. That's one of the reasons why Yahushua is coming back, to take this so-called white man off his power seat. Because he's in the power seat. You cannot deny the statue right here. And you cannot deny the connection that the scripture has with the statue. Okay? This is prophecy. All right?